This is a quick how-to outlining how I put together a competitor positioning analysis for clients, and it helps with a lot of the work that I do in paid media. I like to do this with ChatGPT for a couple of reasons, which I'll dive into in just a moment. But first, I want to take a few seconds to explain why positioning is important in the work that I do. Within paid media campaigns, it can be difficult to drive performance, especially efficient performance that helps to hit or exceed goals without having strong messaging and positioning in place. What I've often found is that when working with clients, the positioning ideas that are held internally don't always match what is reflected externally via that company's website, social media, etc. So what really matters is the external positioning because that's what potential customers see. So what I like to do to not only educate myself around a client's external positioning, but hopefully empower their team to review and make adjustments based on opportunities is use ChatGPT to summarize, scrape, and provide insights around all of the different messaging points, not only for my clients' websites, but for their common competitors as well. Given that ChatGPT is actually really good at this, taking larger amounts of data, content, etc., and providing summaries. The critical thinking, of course, is on me and the teams that I work with, client side. So what I'll do now is run through this series of prompts that I put together. There's 5 of them. They're pretty straightforward, and it's just a really simple copy and paste, but you'll be able to see the output that it provides is often helpful. So first, remove this title here. I have this prompt, and the basic goal is, hey, go look at a series of websites that I've found and outline some of the common messaging points used across them. For this particular example, I've selected a handful of marketing attribution or MTA tools just to highlight a relevant example to this space. So you hit enter, and then ChatGPT does its thing, searching the web, again, why it's powerful. And the output here will be a series of common messaging points across these different competitors in this industry set. This can be really helpful to understand where do people sound similar in this space. So what different points are not differentiators. And then you can also start to understand where your brand may be kind of ahead in certain places or where there are gaps if you're not promoting some table stakes messaging points, features, etc. So you can see ChatGPT start to put all this together. Won't read through all of these, obviously, as there can be quite a bit here. From here, I'll move on to the second prompt where I like to run the same analysis, but instead the output is creating a table. So something that is perhaps a bit more visual and you can more quickly see where there are different gaps. And this table, I'll sometimes copy and paste this into something like a Google Sheet. But as you'll see here, this one looks at messaging points, and you can see as each is noted as present or not present, how these different companies are addressing common messaging points, value props, etc., across their websites. So messaging is one thing, but oftentimes features can be important as well. So the next prompt does the same exact thing, but instead of looking at messaging points, looks at features, since this is, again, important for positioning. See here that ChatGPT is putting together a couple of different responses. So newer feature, but again, can be helpful to help you understand the different options ahead of you. Same thing. Sometimes I like to copy and paste this in a Google Sheet, a bit more visually appealing. And if I want to share it with a client, easy to do that. So now I've got a good overview of common messaging points in bullet form, a table outline, that I can then go back and reference in more detail this, and then also features. So a prompt that I like to use toward the end of some of my analyses is basically saying, hey, go back and did you miss anything? So this is often really helpful, and ChatGPT will spit out some opportunities here. So basically gaps across all competitors that maybe are not addressed. So helpful to put in front of clients to say, hey, can we think about pursuing these different types of messaging points? You know, if there are maybe product gaps, passing that off to the product team, etc. And then Lastly, I like to move away from reviewing website content and actually pointing ChatGPT to any third party review sites specifically looking for negative reviews. And so, what that allows me to do is not only for clients, but for competitors as well, understand hey, what are some of the common frustrations that customers are having and how can those be addressed? So, like I said, this can be really good to include in um, ad copy, creative content, landing pages, etc. So that is all outlined here. We'll let ChatGPT do its thing for just a second, and then you'll see how it quickly spits out some common frustrations that people may have. But feel free to pause, steal these prompts as you need. If you want to, shoot me a message, and I can share over the doc as well.